Good morning, welcome back. Hopefully you've got yourselves a super cozy drink and you are at home and ready to settle in, because let's check the weather. The weather today is, the only way I can describe the weather today is grey, dark, cloudy. I am going to fully embrace that day and I'm looking forward to sharing the day with you. So we have got a very wintry but very homely vlog today.
Look at the weather. Scattered showers for much of the UK today. Northern Ireland and the west of Scotland will see the best of any sunny spells, highs of 6 degrees.
Today is Monday and you last saw a vlog on Saturday, so I've got a little bit to catch up with. How are you? How was your weekend? I absolutely love to hear your news. What's the weather been like? You know all the same questions that I ask, and I really honestly love to hear about how things are in your corner of the world. Hope you are all well. We're at the start of a brand new week and I feel like today I really want to have a little bit of a reset at home. I didn't get round to doing any sort of housework over the weekend. I think the weather was very, very bitter this weekend in Hertfordshire, to the point that I would say there was Arctic winds and rain. When it was raining, it felt like ice hitting your skin. So GB and I did go out on Saturday, although a lot later than we normally do. We're quite often early birds, like to get out to get back. But I think we had a lay in and just a general mooch around the home. And then we went into Hitchin. If you watched my last vlog all about love, you will know why Hitchin holds our hearts so much. So we went over to town. We ended up in the groundworks, met a friend, had a lovely coffee and some breakfast. And I think that was pretty much it. We came home after that, spent most of the weekend in the kitchen and made a fish pie for Saturday. It was probably around that big. So we had a good portion on Saturday in a bowl, the most perfect, coziest food. Love a dinner in a bowl and a fork. I think that is a real treat for us. And then there was enough to have the leftovers yesterday. And I think we pretty much stayed in yesterday, just really embraced being at home and escaping the miserable weather that we're having at the moment. And I feel like spring is coming. The nights are definitely getting longer. It's staying light a lot later. I think last night the street lights went on around 5:15. It's definitely dark by 5:30. So we again just snuggled down and enjoyed one another's company. But quite often we will do our own thing at home and just enjoy being in each other's company. but doing our own thing. So I was reading, I did a little bit of work. Are you the same? I am somebody who likes a lot of familiar TV, especially if it's something that's just on in the background. I find it quite difficult to concentrate on new and upcoming series, especially if there's guns and crime and a lot of noise. It definitely isn't for me, and I feel that that would affect me so much that I probably wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I would much rather have something on really light, easy, upbeat, joyful, whilst I'm pottering around just doing my own thing. I'm just on my second cup of coffee, and home is very, very quiet today. GB's not here. He's over in the main office today. So I have got the home to myself. And because I didn't get round to doing many jobs at the weekend, today is going to be a very homely, resetting type of day, almost like a very early spring clean. I want to start thinking that we are moving into the next season, which we very much are. I'm sure you've noticed as well. There are very early signs of spring. We've seen snowdrops, there's daffodils slowly coming out. We've got some daffodil bulbs out actually at the front of our apartment. Such a joy to see. I remember putting those in during the early autumn. I remember thinking it would be so long until I see the bulbs come out, but there definitely is a few yellow heads starting to appear, and it brings so much promise to my heart that we are going to have a spring. There will be a summer. The seasons will change. And like many of you, I'm somebody who fully embraces and works with each season, but I can feel that there is very, very early signs of transition. That being said, it is a very cold day today. Temperatures are going to reach around 6 degrees, but it definitely is not 6 degrees at the moment. I would say we are looking at around 3 degrees. I have got the heating on full blast. As we move through this month, we are going to see more and more signs of spring, and it won't be long and we will see the trees start to turn green. We will see blossom and all the things that bring spring happiness. So plans for today are pretty much a cleaning motivation day. Give everywhere a really good clean and then put everything back again. We need to look at the plants. There are a few plants that need repotting, a few plants that need looking after. And I have a very sad plant down by the arch window. I'll show you that because you may have some really good ideas for me, but there is something not right with one of my plant babies. I'm just so sad about it. Fingers crossed though, I can put it into my plant hospital and rescue it. Maybe a little bit of baking, cooking, that sort of thing, and just generally having a very, very cozy day, pottering around the home. I say pottering. There's going to be some pottering around the home, but also some deep, deep cleaning as well. I need to motivate myself, and hopefully we can motivate one another to have a very, very productive day. The first job I'm going to start with, I'm going to do this a little bit different today. A job that really needs doing is cleaning the windows in this room, in the main room and the kitchen. I use just natural white wine vinegar for cleaning the windows, and I have found a tea towel works really well. It has to be waffled like this one. I've always been told to not clean the windows on a super sunny day. Make sure the day is cloudy, and then to go round in circles. Newspaper is supposed to be really, really good for cleaning windows. We don't have newspapers in the house anymore. If I was going to use a newspaper, I'd need to go and buy it just to use it. I think one of the worst jobs is cleaning windows. It's not an easy one to do. I never put very much spray on, so 1, 2, 3, very light third one. We all clean in such a different way. I would love to know your window cleaning tips. So I've used my wet cloth. Now I'm just going to buff it all off, any marks. I've always found white wine vinegar and 2 cloths work really well, particularly if they are waffled ones. Let's move through and do the big arch window now. Big job. Right, I think that window's done. There's just a little mark on this one, but I'm not sure if it's outside or in. Let's open the door and find out. Very rainy out here. I'm just going to take a quick look at the bulbs. How are they doing? No little yellow shoots yet. It won't be long and they'll be there. I've got 2 containers down here of daffodil bulbs. Let's move those into the kitchen because I'm going to be working with these later on. But I think it's time for a coffee, don't you? And I'm also going to bake some bread ready for soup and fresh bread for dinner tonight. Just a really simple one. With the weather as grey as it is, I think a nice hearty tomato soup for dinner will be great. Got some in the freezer, but we'll bake a nice fresh loaf. So let's move back through and get a cuppa, shall we? Do you remember the day I was out in town and I was walking around the charity shops and found these beautiful stoneware mugs? There was so many comments about these. I don't think we found out what the little stamp means. I'll just show you. Do you remember these? And they had this little stamp on the side. I think it may say CB, which is interesting because it's my initials. When I bought these, I explained that I'd picked up 2 and I had left 2 in the shop purely because they didn't match the colour scheme of our home. Well, I have a little story to tell you. You will all know about my very, very dear friend, Mrs. P. When she saw these over on the channel, she fell in love with them and knew that her daughter would just love them. So she went on a little hunt for the other 2. I think it may have been the next day or the day after. And she was absolutely delighted because she found the other 2 matching cups, which just makes these even more special. I now know that I have got 2 and Mrs. P and her family have got the other 2. We are not sure about any of the history of these, but we know that they are beautiful, and honestly, drinking a cup of coffee out of them is just beautiful. So though the cups have been separated, it's almost like they haven't as well, because I know that the other 2 cups are just sitting at my friend's house, ready for when I have coffee. These are here ready for when she has coffee. And it's just special. I always think of Mrs. P when I have a drink. I always think, I wonder if she's having her coffee in one of the stoneware cups this morning. I do need to crack on with the kitchen window, but there's a few bits and pieces I'm quite keen to show you. You saw these ones earlier. I picked these up when we were over at Savin's at the end of last week. I've also picked up a few more little daffodil bulbs just to pop around the home. 3 sets of those. Then we've got some hyacinth bulbs. We've got my 3 little plants that I picked up last week, and I haven't potted these up yet. Here's number 1. Number 2, I had a few questions about whether this was an umbrella plant or not. Lots of you think it is, so fingers crossed. I've been warned it will grow quite large, so let's keep an eye on this one over the next few weeks, months and years. Hopefully, if you keep in touch with the channel, we can watch this grow and develop together. I love the variegated leaves on this one, absolutely beautiful. I believe it hangs, I don't know the name of it, but I believe as it grows it will hang down. And we've got some herbs that need some love and care. the rosemary, just need to nip the tops off because you can see they're quite stringy. Oh dear, I'm almost embarrassed to show you this one. Mint. This looks dead, doesn't it? Give that some water and that will come back to life. My basil, however, I will show you. This has died. Now, the reason why these die off very quickly at home is that the root system doesn't have enough space. I was watching this on Gardener's World. They were explaining that if you buy a supermarket basil, it's best to separate it and then put it into smaller pots, especially if you're creating a herb garden outside. You can almost take off all of the little roots. The herb pots that are designed for your kitchen are known to die off quite quick. We're going to be in the main room now. I'm going to remove all the plants, place them in the kitchen and give everywhere a super good clean.
Simple things didn't know I miss until they're gone, and you feel like this, and you feel like this. So hold me close. You bring me.
It's one of those cleans today where I'm moving the sofas back. I'm going to turn the rug over and hoover the other side, but I'm going to open the doors. It is very drizzly out here, but I don't mind. Let's just get some nice fresh air through the home. Oh, that's better.
It happens when I see you. I feel the rush out of the blue, out of the blue. So don't let go. You bring me home. You bring me
I remember when I was a mid-teenager, my mum used to say that if she went out to work, and I was probably around 14 by now, so I was quite old enough to be at home by myself. She used to say, when I go out to work, Cher, I never know when I get back if things are going to be in the same place, because I love to take things out, clean everything and put things back but in a different place. Do lots of you do that as well? Please let me know, because I'd love to know if I'm the only one who loves to move furniture around and think, is it going to be in a better place here? Do I prefer it in this position? And moving things from room to room as well. I'm very much known for moving my plants around. There's different opinions on that, isn't there? Some people say move your plants around, let them get used to light, shadow, darkness, temperature. And other people say when you've put a plant somewhere, you should absolutely leave it. And I'm guessing that's because some just do not like to be moved, where others enjoy it. Most of my plants enjoy it, although I do have a question mark about my nod, well, I call it my nodding plant. I'll show you that later on. Maybe you'll be able to help me. It's a little bit later on now. Out of the window, it still looks quite grey, quite rainy, although I have seen a few dog walkers out, so I'm guessing it's not as bad as what it was originally. But when I had those doors open, there really was a very cold blast of air coming through, but I felt like the home really needed it today. You know, when you're having a good house clean and it just feels like, oh, you're letting in the fresh air. They say, don't they, that is the first sort of cleaning tip, is open the doors, open the windows. And I could really feel that freshness in the home. Haven't put any of the plants back yet. You can see them all. I love being here. I mean, I could stand here and just take care of these plants every single day. Seem to be in a good place in the living room. All the floors are done. I've even swept the rug. So I've given the rug a good hoover. Then I really like to sort of get in all the nooks and crannies with the dustpan and brush. Although it's very cold outside, and I know that from where I've had the doors open, it's not as rainy as it was first thing. It'll be a good opportunity just to get out for a very short little winter's walk, get back in, check on the loaf, which is currently proving. We'll pop that in the oven. I want to take care of some houseplants, put those back in the living room. But for now, let's head out for a short but beautiful winter's walk. I'm just down a little lane near where we live. It's incredibly windy and very, very bitter. Let's go for a very quick look around the orchard. We'll make it back soon because, oh my golly, it's cold. It's actually just started to rain, but I did need to come out just to have a little winter's walk. It is incredibly muddy. Because I've got my Wellington boots on today. I can hear the children playing in the local school. I'm guessing you can't, but I definitely can. Trees are as bare could be. Can you hear the birds? Oh. Can you hear it? It's in the middle. It's just moved. It's just in the middle of the screen now. As soon as spring hits, we'll be hearing all the birds. It's lovely to hear them first thing in the morning, isn't it? This is one of my favourite buildings. Isn't this just absolutely beautiful? Just such a gorgeous cottage. There's quite a lot down this little lane near us. There's a garden down here that has the most amazing allotment. They have a huge greenhouse. I think they've probably got an outdoor kitchen as well. And it's just so dreamy. Oh, lots more birds. Wow, it's definitely raining. And it's just so dreamy, this house. I'll turn the camera around just so that you can get a little bit of a glimpse of what I mean. So they really have done this house up. And then in this garden here, they've got an allotment at the back. Amazing greenhouse. I don't think you can see the allotment on camera. It's just beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Let's go and see the hens. So this house here, the den it's called, and it's got the hens. Are they out today? Oh yeah, they are. How do you go about your cleaning at home? Do you start in one room, get that room finished, then move to the next? Are you somebody who's a little bit like me? I can be a little bit scatty sometimes when it comes to cleaning, and then start in one room, then move to another, and quite often by the end of the day there's stuff in every room, which does eventually get sorted, but it's one of those questions sometimes that you think, why did I start this? Wow. I get distracted all the time. So low. Beautiful little snowdrops. Signs of spring. Hiya. That was bitter, bitter, bitter. Super, super cold. I'm quite hungry after getting back in again after being out there. And I really fancy something just incredibly plain. The plainest food, but that's very, very warming and very comforting when the weather is like this. We've got soup and fresh bread later on. But do you know what I want for my lunch? And I think it's taken me back to my childhood after long walks in the rain. And that is just simply some butter on toast. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get back into my cozy, comfy house dress, put my apron back on. Still got loads to do in here. I'm going to grab some toast, grab my last coffee of the day, just have a few moments, and then we can finish off getting the main room done. I want to start the kitchen, make that loaf of bread, and I've got a few bits to do in the bathroom. I feel like I can do 101 things in a day, but in reality, I can't do that. Tomorrow, I can tackle the bedroom, the office, and the hallway cupboards. But those areas have been done more recently than these rooms. So I'm prioritising, I'm thinking about where my time is best placed. And right now, in this very, very moment, I need toast. Toast with lashings of butter. Just warmed my hands up under the tap. They were so cold. The toaster is something that I always keep in a cupboard. I think because we're small home living, it's just ideal to have it in a cupboard and pull it out as and when we need it. And that means that it does give us more sort of work surface space. I say that there's not a lot of work surface space at the moment. I feel like I'm in a jungle, but I have to say, they are all looking absolutely beautiful. Today is one of those days where it has to be thick white bread. It just has to be. This is just the houseplants from the main room. And I'm standing here thinking that actually is quite a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 houseplants in the main room. Oh my goodness, that is a lot, isn't it? Is that too many? I always feel like there's room for more. I do. I really do. I love them. I just think they spark so much joy. Perfect. How do you like your toast? So for me, this is perfect. Just golden, lightly golden. GB and I find it really difficult to make toast for one another because we like our toast different shades. This is my level of toast. It has to be super hot and lightly golden. GB, on the other hand, he likes toast that is very well done. He said toast is toast for a reason. I could not leave my toast on the side to get cold and then eat it. I have to eat it when it's lovely and warm. Normally we're very good at having a wholemeal loaf, and today, as you know, I'm making a wholemeal loaf of bread. But there are some times when in the cupboard it's an absolute treat to have a white loaf of bread. Nothing beats it sometimes, particularly in the winter. It's like goodness for the heart. It's still very much raining outside. So good. Why is it sometimes the plainest of foods is the most comforting? I've not had to think about this. I've not had to make it. It's ready in minutes. It just feels perfect today. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this, and I wouldn't blame you if you were going to make some toast yourself. Sometimes when you see someone else enjoy something, it does make you think, oh, I think I might have some. So do go make yourself some if you want to. I'm going to finish this, and then I am going to crack on with the houseplants.
You bring me home.
Last coffee of the day. I don't think I've said I'm actually working after school as well. I am teaching, so I need to think about the time and crack on a little bit. So I've got these 3, like I said earlier, they just need to go into some little pots. So perfect size. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. First one is done. Doesn't it look beautiful? Just put that in there. There we go. Next one. And the third one is done. Again, so beautiful. I really like to use the little pots for starter plants. They work so well, and then you can just keep upsizing the pots. One plant that I have found works really well at doing this is, so this one here is just a very little baby shoot from a snake plant. Just to give you an idea of how big that will grow and what it will look like. This one here is a snake plant, and you can see the baby shoots just coming up from the bottom, and you can literally just take them apart and repot them. They are fantastic. A very, very easy plant to look after. Hardly any water. Really good for neutralizing the air, apparently. I've even read that the snake plant is great in the bedroom. It's one of those plants like the peace lily that is also great to have in the bedroom because it neutralizes the air and apparently can help you to fall asleep. I absolutely love the snake plant. Plants are so much more fashionable these days, aren't they, than what they ever used to be. I remember going into houses where you'd see one of these in a bathroom. I'm talking years and years and years ago. And you'd think, oh, what is that? But now I look at them and I just think, how beautiful you are. I am somebody who will talk to my plants. When I'm giving them the water, I'll say something like, there you go, have a nice drink. And it's just nice to do that. Please tell me I'm not alone. Please tell me I'm not alone. Please don't judge me for it either. I just like to do it. I think my mum must have done it when she was watering the plants, and you pick up on these things, don't you? Here is the plant that I could definitely do with some advice on. So I think you probably can see what the problem is. The soil is quite damp. I'm wondering if maybe I've overwatered it. It sits in the arch window, so it does get a lot of sun. Maybe it doesn't like so much water. I'm going to remove this plant from this big pot, put it back into a baby pot so that it hasn't got so much damp soil around it. Put it back into my plant hospital, which is just plants that need a little bit of extra care. I sort of keep an eye on those ones a little bit more, and I will move it around just to see where it is best placed. But I love the basket and the pot. So I'm just having a quick look. I will probably put something like my cheese plant in there. This really loves the sunlight, and I think it will do really well. I have been told that cheese plants like to have a lot of root around them. Although I've noticed with mine, when I upsize them, they pretty much grow into the new pot sort of straight away. I've definitely noticed that with a huge cheese plant that I have. Let's get that job done. It is probably the biggest of the plant jobs today. It's actually two little plants there. I feel that the soil definitely needs to be far more dry than this. They are dripping. I've definitely overwatered these by accident. Well, I think that's what the problem is. It's sort of wet, really quite wet at the bottom. Oh, hopefully I can survive these plants. I'm really hoping I can help this plant to live on. It's all learning, isn't it? We'll put the cheese plant in there and see how that gets on. Wow. Let me bring up a little bit closer so that you can really see what's going on here. I've always found that this plant, the cheese plant here, really likes to be in the sunlight, and wherever I put it, the leaves will turn towards the sun. So I'm sure that one will be fine in the window. That leaves this smaller pot. Let's try and look after this poorly plant. You can see here, it looks like this leaf is on the turn as well. Do I cut it off, that one? I'm not sure. Any advice is definitely welcome. I just love it. It's so gorgeous. I don't want to say goodbye to it. I think I've said this to you before, that when it comes to spring bulbs, I love to put them in any vessel or container that I can find. So I think I'm going to put some in this beautiful little stoneware cup. Here's the one that I've been drinking from today. I'm sure GB won't mind if I take the other one just for a few days to put a few little bulbs in. Quite often I'll use my special Denby cups as well. I think they just look gorgeous in any pot. And today I've got this new idea, and I'm thinking that I may put some in this candle holder centerpiece. So this was just from B&M. I can't remember how much I paid for this. Around £8, I think. Normally it has a pillar candle in, but I think this could work really well with a few spring bulbs in. And then around the outside, we'll just put a few of the daffodil bulbs. Actually, maybe all the way around the outside. I probably could do that, you know. Wow, this is going to look lovely when it comes out. I quite like seeing bulbs themselves, especially if they're indoors. You know, there's not going to be a frost and it's very raw and beautiful. I'll just show you how it's looking so far. A few of you have also said that you're putting spring bulbs around the home. It just makes you feel so happy, doesn't it? Why not bring them in? Oh, I'm so happy with this. Oh, I think it looks wonderful. It's actually made me think that this container would be great for plants that don't need any drainage. I sometimes do that. If I know there's a plant that doesn't need a lot of water and it's one that doesn't require a lot of drainage, a little bit like succulents and that sort of thing. What a great container. I'm so happy with this. It was unexpected. I did not realise I was going to do this today with this pot. But I'm so happy with it. Let's put a few in the stoneware mug. No, it hasn't got any coffee in, which is good. We'll go for the ones here, I think. I picked these bulbs up just from Tesco, £1.50 each. Bargain. I'm going to split them. You can split the bulbs quite easily. Just be a bit gentle. Oh, wow. Again, looks lovely. What can I use at this time? I'm in my kitchen cupboard having a look. Oh, this. Obviously, I'll wash all of these up very, very well once we're finished with them. Another one. Perfect. Happy with those. Oh, little collection, isn't it? I won that one. Spring bulbs. I always think it's best to give the plants a little bit of love and care before I tidy up the kitchen, because soil really does go everywhere. Let's go and put them back in the main room. Maybe they will have a little bit of a new home, or definitely some of them will. I think the bulbs in the kitchen containers, like my little stoneware cup or my ramekin or my little casserole dish, I think they would look nice in the kitchen. And that way you'll be able to see them as well. If you are somebody who enjoys watching the vlogs on the channel, I'll pop them in here and hopefully they'll spark some joy, and then we'll all know that spring is on its way. I think bringing the outside in is such a great nod to the transition of the season. Doesn't necessarily mean that we need to go out and buy spring decor that's all in the shops, but bringing in something that is living, we can take care of them, we can watch them grow over the next few days, hopefully over the next week. I think it's such a great way to embrace and just be in tune with the upcoming season. Right, let's get these plants back into the main room. Wow, this bread is definitely ready to go into the oven to bake. I haven't said to GB that he's got fresh soup and fresh bread for dinner tonight, but I know that when he walks through the door and he can smell the aroma of fresh warm bread in the oven, he is going to be so excited. I think if you've been out all day, especially if you work away and you have a stressful job, coming home to something so warming and comforting on a Monday evening, the first day of the week, the weather like it is today, soup and fresh bread is the best, isn't it? Let's get this in the oven. Whilst the bread is in the oven, let's have a little clean and tidy in here. I really feel like it needs it, especially after I've been doing all of the planting as well. I've got a few ideas. I like to move things around. I'm sure you probably know that by now. Just want to have a little refresh of the areas either side of the coffee bar.
In my conscience, held
have a little check. It's not done yet. We'll pop that on for 10 more minutes. Well, I've managed to work quite fast in the last 3/4 of an hour. I've got the tea towels out. It works really, really well. I have a hook on this door behind me and I hook it up to the main arch window. In the warmer seasons, during the spring and the summer, I often have the arch doors open and it really does create an inside-outside washing line. I love to see things like the tea towels just blowing gently in the wind. And I really do try and create as much as I can inside outside at home. Well, time is cracking on and I'm due to start teaching. It's still incredibly grey outside. It has not stopped being wet, rainy, grey all day, but I feel like I've truly embraced it, just enjoying the simple moments of housework inside. And sometimes if you can embrace those hideous jobs, like looking back and thinking I had to do the windows this morning, but being so thankful now that they're done, and they are done for a good few weeks, makes me feel really good. I almost feel ready now to transition into the next season, although it doesn't really feel like that at the moment. I have a little question for you and I would really, really appreciate your honesty. The first question is, when do you sit down and watch the vlogs? I'm trying to work out the best time to upload them for you. So that's the first question. And the second question is, if you had a preference, how long would you like a vlog to be? Are you somebody who likes a longer vlog, but you will watch half one day, half the next day? Are you someone who likes a long vlog and will sit and watch the whole thing? And when I say long, I'm talking maybe 1 hour, 10 minutes. Or are you somebody who likes shorter vlogs, half an hour, 40 minutes, 50 minutes? I know that some of you have been around for a long time now and I would really appreciate your honesty. Well, I will see you all again on Saturday at 4 o'clock. Take care, do keep in touch. I love hearing from you and I will see you then. Bye for now.